The hardest thing I had to learn, finishing. I'm Karin with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Peg Thomas, multi-award winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes.
This week we're going back to Peg, and I'm going to be honest here. I jotted down the note that one of her struggles was finishing, and I don't know what that means. So, Peg, how was finishing a struggle for you?
Because when I first was starting, this was in the beginning, I would get towards the end of the book and I did not know how to wrap it up. I just didn't know how to finish it. I didn't know how to put that feel good ending on a story. And so my stories just quit. They just quit. There wasn't that wrap up. The whole idea of a wrap up. And then, of course, I went back and realized I didn't do it in my chapters either. Chapters also should have a wrap up. They should not just end. They shouldn't just quit. So in wrapping it up and bringing it all together, in gathering up everything you have fed the reader to that point and bringing it down to that satisfying conclusion, to me, was a huge stumbling block. I actually had a book that I had written, believe it or not, it was women's fiction. I don't know why I wrote it, but I did. And it will never see print. It will never see the light of day. But that thing sat for probably 3 years without the last chapter because I couldn't figure out how to write a last chapter. And the way I got through that was writing more, was attending some online classes and in-person writers conferences and talking to other authors and just making myself try. I was so intimidated by it that I wasn't even trying. I wasn't writing anything because I didn't know how. And I don't know how is not an excuse. I had to learn that part of it. I had to start writing endings until I got one that stuck, that worked, where I hit all the wrap up was there, the satisfaction was there. And honestly, it's easier in romance because in romance, you're getting the guy and the girl together in the end, right? You've got the happily ever after. The first one I tried was women's fiction, didn't have that. And then I wrote a historical with a thread of romance, but it wasn't a romance. And again, didn't have that. And so I had to learn how to do that, how to bring it all together. And the only way to do it is to sit and write and try and figure it out. The classes helped. Talking to other authors certainly helped. But at some point, if you get to a point where you're just stuck on a part of writing, and so you're not writing, then you're doing it wrong. Keep writing, keep trying. Don't put something away because it's hard or because you think you don't understand it. Because putting it aside is not going to fix the problem. It didn't. 3 years and it never wrote its own ending, go figure. I had to go back and I had to do it. And so that was one of the more difficult things for me really early on. Now, once I got those two down, it clicked and I haven't struggled with it again. So if you are struggling with maybe openings, or maybe it's that all important, 50% shift that's got to happen in the middle of the book that changes the stakes, that changes. Maybe you're really stuck there. Just write, get something down. You can work with it once it's there, or you can wad it up, throw it away, and write another one. But you have to move forward. You have to get past that. I don't know how to do this part.
I think my two biggest recommendations for people who struggle in those areas, because I actually don't write endings. When I write a first draft, I rarely write the ending because I know I'm going to change a lot throughout the story because I'm a little bit more of a pantser. So I know I'm going to change a lot. So I don't commit to an ending until I've done the revisions. So if you struggle with your opening, don't stress about it. Just get something down and know that you can go back and fix it. And then my next big one is find the books that, has the ending that you love. Read those books over, keep reading those endings and identify the parts of it that you really like, the parts that give you that satisfying ending, because you do not have to have a happy ending unless you're writing romance. You just have to have a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
So cat's out of the bag. I got some new puppies, but we've only got 15 seconds left. So I'm going to let them bark. Peg, do you have any final words in 5 seconds?
Not just that, just, you know, this was something that I struggled with. I think all writers have that something when they're new that they struggle with, and realize you're not alone. You can get over it. I learned to write endings. Karen's struggled with whatever aspects bothered her. Every writer, I guarantee you, every single writer had that one thing they really had to struggle with and get over. And you do it by just writing. Just keep writing.
Until next week, I'm Karin Beery with Right Now Editing.
And I'm Peg Thomas with No Barking Dogs, and we will see you later.
Bye.